Hi, I'm Dr. Lisa Olson from the Smart Weight Loss Coaching podcast. I've been working with Julia for almost 100 episodes now, and she has really helped me grow my podcast from basically just my parents, my husband and kids, and my sister as listeners to over 17,000 downloads. I mean, the amount that she expanded my audience went way beyond my expectations. She really blew my mind. I have quadrupled the number of downloads over the past 12 months. Julia has been so much more than just my podcast teacher. She has been like a partner to me, really taking an interest in my program and helping me more than I ever could have asked for. I highly recommend Julia.
How amazing is that? I am so grateful that Dr. Lisa shared her experience. And if her story resonated with you and you're thinking, wait, I want results like that too, that is exactly what we're doing inside the Podcast Growth Collective. It's the place for online business owners who want to turn podcasting into a powerful growth tool without the burnout and without guessing what to fix. If you're ready to stop spinning your wheels and finally start seeing results from your podcast, I would love to support you. Head to thepodcastteacher.com/collective to learn more and to join us. And now let's jump into today's episode. Welcome to the very first episode of Podcasting for Introverts. I am so excited that you're here. I'm Julia Levine, aka the Podcast Teacher. In today's episode, I'm going to share a bit about the creation of this podcast, who I am, and what to expect on the show in the coming episodes. Let me start by painting a picture for you. I had a student this week in my group program who was getting stuck on her podcast show description and trailer. I lovingly told her that she's worked on it enough, it's great, and it's time to just put something out there, that everything is changeable later. I encouraged her to take imperfect action and move forward. And as I sat there staring at my podcast trailer script later that same afternoon, I realized that I needed to practice what I preach and call it good enough to take action. I'm not a fan of those who say start messy because as an introvert, I like to do a lot of thinking. First impressions matter to me. And I think it's important to make a good one. I do not like to go into situations unprepared or uninformed. So I don't agree with those podcast gurus who say, just talk into your phone, slap it up there as a podcast, and figure the rest out later. I believe that it's worth some time to set up foundations and determine a strategy before you get started. But it's a balancing act, right? Because it's so easy to get stuck waiting for everything to be perfect before taking action. There's a happy place right in the middle where you've prepared and there's room for improvement. That's the place where it's time to take action. So all of that is to say, I'm here starting this podcast even though it's not perfect. I am prepared enough, and there's still room for improvement. Let me back up a step and fully introduce myself. I'm known as Julia the Podcast Teacher because, well, I teach podcasting. More specifically, I specialize in helping you start a podcast. I spent 12 years as an elementary school library media specialist before pivoting to work in podcasting. And I most enjoy working with beginners. I love taking you by the hand, metaphorically, of course, and walking you through the process of creating a podcast step by step. I'm an introvert, an ISFJ to be precise, and talking with other people or being on camera drains my energy battery pretty quickly. That's not to say that I don't enjoy talking with other people. I do, with the right person or under the right circumstances, but it just exhausts me. Which leads me to define how I'll talk about introverts here on this show. I define an introvert simply as someone who loses energy from interacting with others and then recharges their energy from time alone. I read that some recent studies lead researchers to believe that extrovert and introvert brains respond differently to dopamine, and that causes the difference in energy sources. I find that a fascinating concept. And in addition to getting their energy from time alone, introverts tend to be thinkers, readers, and listeners. They're sometimes quiet, shy, or socially anxious. Just like the rest of the population, introverted individuals are all unique. We each have our own challenges and strengths. On this podcast, I'll be drawing from my own personal characteristics and experiences as an introvert, as well as those of friends, family, and colleagues. I'll be overgeneralizing the experience of an introvert a bit for the sake of simplicity. So that's my disclaimer that you might not identify with everything that I say, but if you're here, I think that you'll resonate with most of it. On a more personal note, I'm currently coming to you from Orlando, Florida. My husband, Jeff, and I relocated here a couple of years ago. We're originally from Maryland, and I absolutely love the Sunshine State. I like to joke that I'm solar powered because nothing recharges me quite like a 15-minute break of soaking up some sunshine. We're also big Disney fans, which was one of the things that drew us to this part of Florida. And we also love to take cruises. It's our favorite kind of vacation. Fortunately, there's also pretty easy access to a cruise port from where we're located. It's been a journey to get to this point of putting my podcast out into the world. I've put a lot of pressure on myself for this podcast to be perfect. I mean, I teach people how to do this. Shouldn't I be able to set a stellar example? The truth is that it's always harder to work on your own stuff than it is someone else's. And I'm human, just like you. Parts of this process have really challenged me, just like they probably will for you. So my hope is that by putting out an imperfect podcast, that you too can have the guts to put out an imperfect podcast. Plus, going through the ups and downs of the journey myself is helping me to be a better teacher and coach. Okay. So let's wrap up with some specifics about what you'll learn here on the show and why it will be worth your valuable time. I'm going to be sharing about the value of podcasting and why a podcast is the best way to expand your reach and build your audience. As an introvert, I only want to show up on social media if I can lurk, reading other people's posts, and maybe posting some written content of my own. Being on camera, making reels, or going live are things I would like to avoid as much as humanly possible. Podcasting allows you to expand your reach and establish yourself as an expert in your field without using social media. You'll get practical podcasting tips about things like how to come up with episode content, which equipment to use, and a ton of other FAQs that I've gotten from past students and clients. You'll benefit from my insider knowledge gained from podcasting newsletters, courses, and conferences. I'll share the nuggets that you need to know and leave out the rest. I'll also bring in the introvert perspective, because if you're anything like me, you're going to need to warm up to the idea and want as much information as possible before you make the decision to start a podcast. You're probably going to overthink every single aspect, and you're going to be tempted to let perfectionism hold you back. You'll hear from me about the mindset shifts and aha moments that I have had along the way as I step off the sidelines and into the podcasting ring. Plus, I'll be bringing on other introverted podcasters to share their experiences and perspectives as well. To wrap up, I want to say thank you for listening to this first podcast episode and for allowing me into your earbuds as the imperfect podcaster that I am. I'll be back very soon with another episode. Make sure to follow the podcast on your favorite player so that you don't miss anything. Talk to you soon. Hey, real quick before you go, I want to let you know that to celebrate the launch of this podcast and to further expand my reach, I'm giving away multiple $50 Amazon gift cards and a full scholarship to my signature program, Podcast Startup Academy. To be entered to win, you just need to listen and subscribe to the show, give a rating and/or review on your favorite listening platform, and tell someone else about the podcast. That's it. Since you're probably multitasking, I'll include all of the nitty-gritty details in the episode description for you. Thanks for your support, and may the giveaway odds be in your favor.